Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing HFY stories. Hit the bell icon to get notified about our latest uploads. In the remote reaches of the Appalachian Mountains, the night was a canvas of inky blackness, spattered with the countless stars that Jack Turner had dedicated his life to understanding. Nestled in the observatory that had become both his home and sanctuary, Jack sat hunched over his console, his eyes reflecting the cold glow of the screen. As an astrophysicist with a fervent passion for cosmic environmentalism, he was on the verge of proving that celestial phenomena could impact planetary ecosystems in profound ways. The clock ticked past midnight, but the concept of time seemed irrelevant to him amidst the data and graphs sprawling across his monitors. His latest project was ambitious, tracking deep space anomalies that could potentially forecast ecological shifts on Earth. His colleagues scoffed at the idea, but Jack believed. The universe was interconnected in ways they couldn't yet understand. Suddenly, his concentration was shattered by an irregularity in the data, a signal anomaly that seemed impossible under the current cosmic conditions. As he recalibrated his instruments and adjusted the parameters, a brilliant flash of light filled the room, pure and white, blinding him momentarily. When his vision cleared, he wasn't alone. Standing before him was a figure, so extraordinary and out of place that it took Jack's breath away. She was tall and humanoid, with luminescent skin that seemed to shimmer with a light of its own. Her eyes were vast and vivid, a deep violet that no human could claim. Her clothing was sleek, metallic, and seemed woven from the night sky itself. "Do you know who I am, human?" she asked, her voice melodious yet commanding, resonating through the room with an ethereal echo. Jack, stunned into silence, could only shake his head. His mind raced, trying to grasp the reality of an alien standing in his observatory. He managed to stammer out a hesitant, "No, I don't know who you are." The woman's expression softened slightly. "I am Serena, of the planet Eridani. I have come a great distance to find you, Jack Turner, for you have seen what many have not." Jack's confusion deepened. "You've come for me? Why? How do you know my name?" "Your research, your writings on cosmic environmentalism," Serena explained, her gaze intense. "They have traveled far, Jack. Across stars and through the void. We intercepted them as we searched for someone who could understand, someone who could help." "Help with what?" Jack asked, his scientific curiosity piquing despite the surreal situation. "Our world, Eridani, is dying," Serena said gravely. "It suffers from a cataclysm of our own making, worsened by cosmic forces similar to those you study. We need your insight, your unique perspective on cosmic environmental impacts." Jack felt a mixture of honor and incredulity. "You want me to help save your planet?" "Yes," she confirmed. "But first, you must see for yourself." Serena reached into the air, and with a motion that seemed both simple and impossibly complex, she produced a small device. It looked like a sleek, futuristic pair of goggles. "This will show you Eridani, through our eyes." Hesitant but driven by an insatiable thirst for knowledge and a growing desire to help, Jack accepted the device and placed it over his eyes. Instantly, he was transported beyond the confines of his observatory. He found himself standing on a vast plain, beneath a sky lit by 3 suns. The land was barren, streaked with the scars of ecological disaster, cracked earth, withered vegetation, and in the distance, a city that sparkled with advanced technology yet was suffused with an air of desperation. The vision lasted only a moment, but it was enough. Jack removed the goggles, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and resolve. "I'll help you, Serena. I'll do whatever I can." A smile, the first true expression of warmth, crossed Serena's face. "Then we must go, now. Time on Eridani is running short." "But, my life is here," Jack hesitated, thinking of the professional ties and few personal connections anchoring him to Earth. "Jack, you are needed more critically elsewhere," Serena urged. "And you can return once our crisis is averted. I promise you this." Understanding the gravity of his decision, Jack composed a quick message to leave behind, a cryptic note that spoke of an unexpected journey and not to worry. With one last look at his familiar world, he turned to Serena. "Let's go save a planet." Serena nodded, holding out her hand. As Jack took it, she activated the device, and together, they stepped forward into the unknown. Behind them, the observatory remained silent, a lone sentinel amidst the mountains, under the watchful eyes of the stars that had led Jack to this incredible moment. As they arrived on Eridani, Jack's awe at the alien landscape was tinged with the weight of the task ahead. Serena turned to him, her eyes serious. "Welcome to my world, Jack. The real work begins now." With the stunning vista of a dying world before him, Jack felt the surge of both fear and determination. Here, among the stars, his theories would face the ultimate test. As Jack stepped out onto the alien surface of Eridani, he was immediately struck by the stark contrast between the advanced civilization that had developed there and the environmental devastation that threatened its existence. The air was tinged with a metallic scent, and the sky, a tapestry of swirling maroon and deep blues, seemed almost as if painted by an artist's melancholy brush. Serena led Jack through the desolate landscape towards a towering city in the distance. Its buildings were sleek and tall, shimmering with an iridescent glow, but even from afar, Jack could see signs of decay and neglect. "We call this city Lorien. It was once the heart of our planet's innovation and culture," Serena explained as they approached the city gates. The gates themselves were an impressive display of technology, made of a material that seemed to shift in color and form. Inside the city, the streets were bustling with Eridanians, their appearances as diverse as their planet's dying flora. Some had luminous skin like Serena, while others bore crystalline structures on their bodies. Despite the diversity, a sense of urgency and somberness was palpable among the crowd. Serena guided Jack to a central building, which towered over the rest, its pinnacle piercing the sky. "This is the Arcanum, the hub of our scientific community. We need your expertise here," she said, her voice both hopeful and desperate. Inside the Arcanum, Jack was introduced to a group of Eridani's top scientists. They gathered around a holographic model of their planet, displaying real-time data on various ecological crises. Jack was immediately drawn to the complex interplay of natural and cosmic factors affecting the planet. "The main issue," one scientist, named Corin, explained, "is our planet's magnetic field. It has been destabilizing due to a rare cosmic phenomenon known as a stellar maelstrom. This instability exacerbates environmental degradation, disrupting our climate systems and causing severe ecological damage." Jack listened intently, correlating the information with his own research on Earth. "On Earth, we've begun to understand how celestial events can influence environmental patterns, but we haven't seen anything on this scale," he shared. The scientists were keen to learn from Jack's insights. He proposed a collaborative effort to devise a method to stabilize the magnetic field using a combination of Eridani's advanced technology and his own theoretical models. The discussion went on for hours, with Jack feeling more like a peer among these alien minds than ever before. After the meeting, Serena took Jack to the top of the Arcanum. From here, they could see the sprawling city and beyond, the barren lands that once thrived with life. "Our ancestors believed that the stars held the secrets to our survival," Serena said quietly. "Perhaps, with your help, that belief might save us yet." That night, Jack was given quarters in the Arcanum. Despite the alien comfort and the strangeness of his surroundings, exhaustion pulled him into a deep sleep. He dreamt of Earth, of his observatory, and of a sky untainted by the troubles that plagued Eridani. The next morning, Jack was awakened by an urgent summons from the Scientific Council. An ecological monitoring station in the outer region had reported a massive environmental collapse, a sinkhole swallowing a whole forest, a critical loss given Eridani's already fragile state. With a team of Eridani scientists and Serena, Jack traveled to the site. The devastation was unlike anything he had seen before. The ground was a gaping maw, the air filled with the sharp tang of chemicals released from deep underground. "This was one of our last reserves of biodiverse flora," a scientist named Talon explained grimly. "Its loss accelerates our ecological decline significantly." Jack, feeling a surge of responsibility and determination, spoke up. "We need to implement our stabilization plan as soon as possible. But we also need to start looking at ways to restore what's been lost. On Earth, we have methods to rehabilitate destroyed ecosystems. Maybe we can adapt those techniques here." The idea sparked a new wave of discussions. Serena and the others were intrigued by the possibility of not just stopping the decline but reversing it. As they returned to the city, Jack's mind was abuzz with possibilities. He felt a deep connection to Eridani and its inhabitants now. Their struggle was no longer just an academic challenge, it was a personal battle. Serena sensed Jack's commitment and placed a hand on his shoulder. "You have given us something we lost long ago, Jack, hope." Jack looked out over Lorien, its lights flickering against the night sky. "We're going to save your world, Serena. Together." This moment marked a turning point, not just for Eridani, but for Jack as well. He was no longer just a visitor from another world. He was a key player in the fight for Eridani's future, armed with knowledge, empathy, and a burning desire to make a difference. The task ahead was daunting, but for the first time since his arrival, Jack felt ready to face it head-on. With renewed vigor and a sense of purpose, Jack delved into the heart of the stabilization project alongside Eridani's brightest minds. The plan was ambitious. They aimed to create a series of planetary stabilizers that could be deployed around Eridani to counteract the destabilizing effects of the stellar maelstrom on the planet's magnetic field. The Arcanum became a hub of frenetic activity, with scientists, engineers, and theorists working in unison. Jack found himself at the center of this whirlwind, bridging the gap between Eridanian technology and his own theories. The team decided to construct 3 stabilizers, strategically placed at the planet's magnetic poles and the equator. These devices would generate a harmonic magnetic resonance that could reinforce and stabilize the natural magnetic field. The technology was something Jack had only theorized about on Earth, but here, it was becoming a reality. As the construction of the stabilizers began, Jack took a more hands-on approach. He spent days at the manufacturing sites, working with Eridanian engineers who crafted components from exotic materials that were both incredibly durable and highly conductive. One day, while inspecting a newly developed alloy in the lab, Jack and a young engineer named Alara discovered a unique property of the material: it resonated naturally with certain cosmic frequencies. This serendipitous discovery provided them with the breakthrough they needed to enhance the effectiveness of the stabilizers. "We can use this alloy to create a feedback loop that not only stabilizes the field but also strengthens it over time," Alara explained, her eyes gleaming with excitement. Jack nodded, impressed by her insight. "This could significantly extend the life of our stabilizers and perhaps begin a gradual process of environmental recovery." Word of their discovery spread quickly, and soon the project gained even more support from various sectors of Eridanian society. It wasn't just about survival now, there was a tangible sense of reclaiming their future. However, as the project progressed, challenges arose. The first stabilizer was successfully installed at the northern pole, but its activation was less effective than anticipated. The team needed to adjust the harmonic frequencies and power output. Jack and the team worked tirelessly, recalibrating the stabilizer settings. After several tense hours, they attempted a second activation. This time, the magnetic readings were promising. The stabilizer hummed with energy, its core glowing a steady blue as it began its work of mending Eridani's magnetic field. Encouraged by this success, the team prepared to install the second stabilizer at the equator. Jack, accompanied by Serena and a team of specialists, traveled to the equatorial site, where they faced the harsh conditions of Eridani's vast deserts. During the installation, a powerful sandstorm struck, threatening to damage the delicate components of the stabilizer. The team worked through the storm, shielding the equipment and securing the site against the howling winds. It was a grueling test of endurance and determination, but eventually, the storm abated, and the second stabilizer was set in place. Back at the Arcanum, the mood was cautiously optimistic. Reports from across the planet indicated minor improvements in environmental conditions. Areas that had been on the brink of ecological collapse showed signs of stabilization. However, the true test was still to come with the installation of the third stabilizer at the southern pole. This region was known for its volatile seismic activity, making the installation significantly more dangerous. As preparations for the final installation began, Jack received a message from Earth. It was from his old mentor, Dr. Helen Ramirez, expressing concern over his sudden disappearance and the cryptic message he had left behind. She pleaded for any sign that he was safe. Torn between his obligations on Eridani and his ties to Earth, Jack responded with a carefully worded message, explaining that he was involved in critical work that could not be disclosed but assured her of his safety and his intention to return. With his message sent, Jack focused on the task ahead. The journey to the southern pole was treacherous, involving crossing unstable ice fields and navigating through crevasses. Upon their arrival, the team set up camp and began the precarious process of installing the stabilizer. Jack, aware of the risks, pushed everyone to double-check every detail. Their efforts were meticulous, and after days of non-stop work, the final stabilizer was ready for activation. Gathered in the control tent, Jack and the team held their breath as the stabilizer powered up. The ground trembled slightly, a normal occurrence in this region, but as the stabilizer reached operational capacity, the tremor ceased. The stabilizer was working, and for the first time in decades, Eridani's seismic activity began to calm. As the team celebrated their success, Jack looked out over the icy landscape, his thoughts drifting to Earth. He had helped stabilize a planet, an achievement beyond anything he had imagined. Yet, he knew his work on Eridani was not yet complete. There was much to do to ensure the planet's recovery, and perhaps, in doing so, he would find new solutions to bring back to Earth. With a sense of accomplishment and a renewed commitment, Jack turned back to his colleagues. Together, they would move forward to the next phase of their plan, rejuvenating the battered ecosystems of Eridani, inspired by the hope that one person's determination could indeed change the world, or in this case, worlds. With Eridani's magnetic field stabilizers operational and beginning to show positive effects, Jack and the team turned their focus to the next critical phase, ecological restoration. The project, dubbed the Regeneration Protocol, aimed to revive the planet's dying ecosystems using a combination of Eridanian advanced technology and Earth's ecological rehabilitation techniques. As spring arrived on Eridani, bringing with it milder weather and the promise of renewal, the team assembled at the Arcanum to strategize the deployment of the protocol. Jack proposed using bioengineered organisms and plants that could thrive in Eridani's harsh conditions, alongside terraforming tools that could amend the soil and atmosphere to support life. Serena introduced a pilot project, the Green Heart Initiative, focusing on a particularly devastated area near Lorien. This area, once a vibrant forest, had become a symbol of the planet's environmental crises. Restoring it would not only improve local biodiversity but also serve as a beacon of hope for Eridanians. The team developed a series of drones, designed to disperse seeds and microorganisms across the barren landscape. These drones were equipped with sensors to monitor environmental conditions and adjust their operations accordingly. Jack worked closely with Talon, an Eridanian botanist, to select species that would be most effective in stabilizing the soil and purifying the air. As the drones buzzed overhead, dispersing the first wave of life back into the soil, the team held a small ceremony. The Eridanians, deeply connected to their planet, offered words of hope and determination, which resonated with Jack's sense of mission. Over the following weeks, Jack divided his time between the Green Heart site and the Arcanum, where he helped refine the ecological models based on the initial results. Progress was slow but unmistakable. Sprouts of green began to punctuate the red soil, a stark contrast that was celebrated with each new growth. However, the project faced significant setbacks. A sudden and severe temperature drop caused many of the newly planted seedlings to perish. The team gathered to assess the situation, their optimism dampened by this unforeseen challenge. "We underestimated the variability of Eridani's climate," Jack admitted during the meeting. "Our models need to be more adaptable, more resilient." Inspired by Earth's history of ecological resilience, Jack suggested integrating thermal energy accumulators into the drone technology. These devices would gather heat during the day and release it during colder nights, providing a microclimate for the young plants. The Eridanian engineers quickly embraced and implemented the idea. As the modifications were made, Jack felt a deepening bond with his colleagues. Their shared struggles and successes had forged friendships that transcended their different backgrounds. One evening, as they watched the sunset over the slowly greening landscape, Elara turned to Jack and said, "What you've brought us is more than hope, Jack. It's a new way of seeing our world and our place in it." Encouraged by Elara's words and the budding signs of life at the Green Heart site, the team planned to expand the initiative. Serena secured approval from the Planetary Council to implement the regeneration protocol across other regions, adapting the approach based on local environmental conditions. Meanwhile, Jack began to document the project in detail, intending to share the knowledge and techniques developed on Eridani with Earth. He realized that this interstellar collaboration could offer valuable lessons for dealing with Earth's own environmental challenges. As the project gained momentum, news of its success spread across Eridani, lifting the spirits of its people. Schools started organizing trips to the Green Heart site, where children could learn about ecology and the importance of environmental stewardship. Jack often joined these trips, sharing his passion for science and sustainability with the young Eridanians. The regeneration protocol was becoming a cornerstone of Eridani's revival, but Jack knew that the planet still faced a long road to recovery. The magnetic field stabilizers required continuous monitoring and adjustment, and the ecological systems were fragile. One day, while reviewing data at the Arcanum, Jack and the team detected a new anomaly in the magnetic readings. The stabilizers were fluctuating unexpectedly, hinting at an underlying issue they had not anticipated. Gathering the team, Jack presented the data. "We need to investigate this. It could be a sign of deeper planetary instabilities, or perhaps an aftereffect of the stellar maelstrom that we didn't foresee." The decision was made to launch a series of deep-core probes to better understand the planet's geological state. This new phase of exploration would require Jack to venture into Eridani's most unstable regions, testing both his resolve and his ingenuity. As preparations for the expedition began, Jack felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. He knew that the challenges ahead were formidable, but he also knew that the stakes were too high to ignore. With each step forward, he was not only helping to save a planet but also learning invaluable lessons that could one day benefit Earth. The journey ahead was uncertain, but Jack was ready to face it, driven by a commitment to his new home and its people. As he looked out over Eridani, now dotted with patches of green, he felt a profound connection to this alien world. It had become his field of dreams, a place where hope was being sown in the fertile ground of cooperation and shared purpose. Jack's preparations for the deep core probing mission consumed him entirely. His days were spent in intense collaboration with Eridanian geologists and engineers, designing probes capable of withstanding the extreme conditions they expected to find within Eridani's unstable geological layers. The probes were not just scientific instruments but lifelines into the planet's mysterious subterranean world, potentially holding the answers to the stabilizer fluctuations. The morning of the expedition, Jack stood at the launch site, a vast expanse cleared just outside Lorien. The air was crisp, and the rising sun painted the sky in hues of purple and gold. Serena joined him, her presence a comforting constant in his life on Eridani. "We've come so far, Jack," she said, watching as the team made final preparations. "Whatever we find today, it will bring us closer to understanding our planet." Jack nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "We're ready," he replied, his voice steady despite the butterflies in his stomach. The probes, sleek and robust, were lined up like sentinels ready for duty. At Jack's command, they were launched one by one, their engines igniting with a roar that echoed across the landscape. As the probes disappeared into the ground, data began streaming back immediately, displayed on large monitors that the team clustered around. Initial readings were promising. The probes withstood the descent and began transmitting back layers of geological data. Jack, along with the geologists, pored over the information, identifying various mineral layers, underground water sources, and unexpected pockets of organic compounds. Hours into the monitoring, a probe signaled an anomaly. It had encountered a highly magnetic layer deep underground, richer and more complex than anything Eridani's scientists had previously mapped. The reading suggested a natural formation, possibly linked to the planet's original magnetic field generation. This could be the key to understanding the fluctuations in our stabilizers, an Eridanian scientist named Kale remarked, his eyes wide with excitement. Jack suggested they focus multiple probes on this area to gather as much data as possible. The team adjusted their equipment, redirecting resources to explore this discovery further. As they delved deeper into the magnetic layer, another discovery unfolded. The probes detected a series of natural caverns, formed by geological forces and filled with a bioluminescent fungus that lit up the caverns in a breathtaking display of natural light. The sight was mesmerizing, and Jack couldn't help but feel a surge of wonder. This ecosystem, it might be ancient, perhaps as old as the planet itself, Talon, the botanist, mused aloud. It could tell us much about the planet's past climate and conditions. Encouraged by these discoveries, Jack proposed a manned mission to the caverns. We need to see this for ourselves, to study it up close. This could be a living laboratory, a chance to learn not just how to stabilize Eridani, but to understand its very essence. Serena agreed, and preparations for the manned expedition began immediately. It was a risky operation, going deep beneath the planet's surface into unexplored territory. But the potential rewards were too great to ignore. Weeks later, Jack found himself geared up in a specialized suit designed for subterranean exploration. He was part of a small team, including Serena, Kale, and Talon, who would venture into the depths. The descent was slow and cautious, with their path illuminated only by the soft glow of the bioluminescent fungi. Reaching the caverns, the team was awestruck. The walls shimmered with light, casting eerie, dancing shadows. They collected samples of the fungi and the surrounding rock, recording every observation. It was Talon who discovered the crucial piece. While examining a particularly bright cluster of fungi, she found that they were growing around a mineral rich in a substance similar to what was used in the magnetic stabilizers. This fungus, it's interacting with the minerals, possibly even feeding off the magnetic energy, Talon theorized excitedly. It might be influencing the magnetic field locally. Jack realized the implications immediately. If we can understand this interaction, maybe we can replicate or enhance it. This could be a natural way to boost our stabilizers, making them more efficient and self-sustaining. The expedition spent days in the caverns, gathering as much data as they could carry. When they finally resurfaced, they were met with eager faces and a barrage of questions. Back at the Arcanum, the team worked tirelessly to analyze the samples and data. The relationship between the bioluminescent fungi and the magnetic minerals was complex, but it offered a new avenue for enhancing the stabilizers. As Jack put together a report on their findings, he couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought him here. From the observatory on Earth to the depths of an alien planet, his life had taken turns he could never have anticipated. But there was little time for reflection. The work to integrate their new discoveries into the stabilizer system was demanding and required innovative solutions that pushed the boundaries of both Eridanian and Earth science. Months passed as the new systems were tested and slowly implemented. The results were encouraging. The stabilizers not only became more stable but also began showing signs of self-regulation, adjusting to the planet's natural magnetic fluctuations with little to no external input. As Eridani began to show real signs of recovery, Jack's thoughts increasingly turned to Earth. He had learned so much here, seen so many wonders, and he knew that the lessons from Eridani could help his home planet too. He began to plan his return, eager to bring back his newfound knowledge. Serena sensed his growing restlessness. "You're thinking about Earth," she said one evening as they watched the sunset from the Arcanum's upper balcony. Jack nodded. "I am. But I also know there's still work to do here. And I want to see it through." Serena smiled. "And we want that too, Jack. But know this, Eridani will always be a part of you now, as much as Earth. You've helped save our world, and that's a bond that won't easily break." Jack looked out over the recovering landscapes, feeling a deep satisfaction in the work he'd done and the friendships he'd made. Eridani was no longer just a mission, it was a part of his life, his legacy. But Earth was calling him home, and he was ready to answer. As Eridani's recovery progressed steadily under the enhanced stabilizers, Jack's thoughts increasingly turned towards Earth. He felt a pressing need to share the groundbreaking discoveries and techniques developed on Eridani with his home planet, which was grappling with its environmental crises. The time had come for him to prepare for his return. First, Jack collaborated closely with Serena and the Eridanian scientists to compile a comprehensive report of all the scientific breakthroughs and ecological restoration techniques they had developed. This included detailed studies on the bioluminescent fungi and magnetic minerals interaction, the design and operation of the planetary stabilizers, and the successful strategies employed in the Green Heart Initiative. He intended this report to serve as a blueprint for similar ecological recovery efforts on Earth. Meanwhile, Jack initiated a series of training sessions for a select group of Eridanian researchers who would continue the work in his absence. He taught them advanced Earth-based ecological theories, blending them with the Eridanian methods they had co-developed. These sessions were intense and rewarding, as Jack watched his colleagues grow into their new roles, ready to lead their planet's ongoing recovery. Parallel to these preparations, Jack worked with Eridanian engineers to adapt the transport technology for his journey back to Earth. The travel device that had brought him to Eridani needed significant recalibration to ensure it could navigate back to Earth safely, considering the vast cosmic distances and the precision required for re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. During this time, emotional farewells began as Jack's departure drew near. He visited the sites that had marked significant milestones during his stay, the first stabilizer location, the flourishing Green Heart area, and the underground caverns. At each site, memories of challenges faced and overcome filled him with a mixture of pride and nostalgia. Serena accompanied him during these visits, and their conversations often lingered on the future, how Eridani's advancements could benefit Earth and the potential for continued interstellar collaboration. Serena assured him that the communication lines between Earth and Eridani would remain open, and proposed the idea of an ambassadorial exchange program to foster ongoing cooperation. As the departure day approached, a large farewell gathering was organized in Lorien's Central Plaza, now surrounded by greenery nurtured by the regeneration protocol. The Eridanian community came together to express their gratitude. They presented Jack with tokens of appreciation, including a crafted model of the Arcanum and samples of the bioluminescent fungus preserved in a specially designed terrarium. Jack addressed the crowd, his speech laden with gratitude and optimism. He emphasized the unity and shared purpose that had turned the tide for Eridani, expressing hope that these lessons could be similarly transformative for Earth. His words resonated deeply with those gathered, reinforcing the bond between him and the Eridanian people. On his last night on Eridani, Jack couldn't sleep. He walked to the observatory that had first detected his presence, an ironic full circle to his incredible journey. There, he spent the night reflecting under the stars, which seemed brighter and more familiar than ever. The morning of his departure was bittersweet. Serena and the team escorted him to the launch site, where the adapted transport device awaited. After final checks and a quiet moment with Serena, Jack stepped into the device, equipped with the comprehensive data and samples bound for Earth. With a heavy heart but a spirit filled with purpose, Jack activated the device. The familiar rush of interstellar travel enveloped him, and within moments, the landscapes of Eridani were replaced by the blue and green hues of Earth. Jack's arrival on Earth was carefully planned to be discreet. He materialized in a secure location where his old mentor, Dr. Helen Ramirez, and a team of trusted colleagues awaited. The reunion was emotional, with Dr. Ramirez embracing Jack tightly, relief and curiosity mingling in her eyes. Over the following weeks, Jack debriefed his Earth colleagues on his experiences and findings. The data from Eridani sparked a wave of excitement and hope among Earth's scientific community. Plans were quickly drawn up to adapt Eridani's technologies and methods to Earth's environmental challenges. Jack also began preparations for a series of presentations and talks he was invited to give at major environmental and scientific conferences around the globe. His story, now public, had captured the imagination of the world, symbolizing a new era of global cooperation and environmental stewardship. Amidst the whirlwind of his homecoming activities, Jack stayed in close contact with Serena and his Eridanian colleagues, exchanging updates and planning future collaborations. The ambassadorial exchange program took shape, promising a robust partnership between the two planets. Through all these developments, Jack's thoughts often returned to the serene landscapes of Eridani, the friendships he had forged, and the lessons he had learned. These memories fueled his efforts on Earth, driving him to advocate not just for technological solutions, but for a deeper, more holistic approach to planetary stewardship. As Jack prepared for his first public address, he felt a convergence of his past and future. Standing at the podium, he looked out at a world eager for change, ready to listen and learn from the extraordinary journey of one man who had ventured beyond the stars to bring back hope. As Jack stood behind the podium, the hall packed with scientists, policymakers, environmentalists, and the curious public, he felt the weight of his experiences on Eridani pressing upon him. This was his first public address since his return, a keynote speech at one of the most prestigious environmental conferences on Earth. He began by recounting his initial journey to Eridani, painting a vivid picture of a planet grappling with catastrophic environmental degradation, much like Earth, but further along a disastrous path. His audience was captivated, hanging on the details of the alien technology and the cross-planetary collaboration that had led to substantial ecological recoveries. Today, I stand before you not just as a scientist who has studied among the stars but as a witness to the powerful outcomes of unity and innovative thinking in the face of environmental adversity, Jack declared. His words resonated in the hall, amplified by the urgency of Earth's own environmental crises. Jack detailed the technologies and methods developed on Eridani, the stabilizers that realigned the planet's magnetic field, the bioluminescent fungi that played a role in geological stability, and the drones that restored biodiversity. He shared vivid images and videos of the barren landscapes transforming into thriving ecosystems, eliciting gasps and murmurs of awe from the audience. More importantly, Jack emphasized the philosophical shift that had been necessary on Eridani, a move from exploitation to stewardship, from isolation to collaboration. We need a similar shift here on Earth, he urged, a global effort that transcends borders and disciplines. As part of his presentation, Jack introduced the idea of the Earth-Eridani Ecological Alliance, E3A, a program designed to foster an exchange of knowledge and resources between Earth and Eridani. He outlined how Earth could benefit from Eridanian technologies and vice versa, turning the planet into a living laboratory for sustainable practices. The response was overwhelmingly positive. After his talk, Jack was swarmed by attendees asking questions, seeking advice, or simply expressing their admiration and support. Environmental NGOs proposed partnerships, while several governments expressed interest in joining the E3A initiative. In the days following the conference, Jack's schedule became a whirlwind of meetings, interviews, and planning sessions. He met with international leaders, heads of state, and influential business moguls, all interested in how they could contribute to or benefit from the E3A. Each meeting brought new opportunities for collaboration, and slowly, Jack's vision began to take shape on a global scale. Amidst this flurry of activity, Jack maintained constant communication with Serena and his colleagues on Eridani. They were thrilled by Earth's reception of the Eridani recovery techniques and equally eager to learn from Earth's responses to its environmental challenges. This synergy fueled a series of joint projects, including the development of new stabilizer models that could be adapted for Earth's magnetic field anomalies. Jack also organized a series of public forums across major cities worldwide, aiming to educate and engage the general populace. He believed that real change required public buy-in, and these forums were met with enthusiastic participation. Families, students, and local communities turned out in large numbers, eager to learn about environmental stewardship and how they could contribute to local and global efforts. One particularly memorable forum took place in a large city park, where Jack led a demonstration of a scaled-down drone that could be used in urban areas to improve air quality and green spaces. The event was covered by major media outlets, further spreading the message and inspiring similar initiatives in other cities. As momentum grew, Jack established the Terra Nova Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to advancing Earth's environmental recovery through technology and community engagement, modeled after his work on Eridani. The foundation quickly became a pivotal player in the global environmental scene, facilitating research, funding projects, and advocating for policy changes. Throughout all these developments, Jack's thoughts often returned to the deep caverns of Eridani and the mysterious luminescence of its fungi. These memories reminded him of the beauty and fragility of both planets and reinforced his commitment to his mission. Months after his return, as autumn turned to winter, Jack was invited to speak at the United Nations, where he presented the successes of the E3A initiative and the ongoing projects of the Terra Nova Foundation. His presentation culminated in a call to action for all nations to commit to a multilateral treaty for planetary health, the Blue-Green Protocol, aiming for a sustainable future for both Earth and Eridani. Standing at the UN podium, Jack felt a surge of hope. The journey that began with a desperate plea from an alien world had blossomed into a transformative movement on his home planet. As he concluded his speech, the assembly rose in a standing ovation, a symbol of the global commitment to the journey ahead. Jack knew there was much work still to be done, but for the first time in a long while, he was optimistic about the future, of Earth, of Eridani, and of the uncharted territories of cooperation they were navigating together. As the applause echoed through the halls of the United Nations, Jack felt a profound sense of accomplishment and anticipation. The endorsement of the Blue-Green Protocol marked a significant milestone, reflecting a unified commitment from the global community to address environmental degradation proactively. It was a dream realized, a vision that had crystallized from the desperate conditions on a distant planet and brought to life here on Earth. In the months following the UN conference, the Terra Nova Foundation spearheaded the implementation of the protocol, facilitating the rollout of Eridani-inspired technologies and restoration projects worldwide. Jack watched as countries adopted magnetic field stabilizers to mitigate climate anomalies, urban centers used bioluminescent organisms for natural lighting and air purification, and drones reforested barren lands with precision and efficiency. But Jack's work was far from over. With each success came new challenges. The technologies required adaptations, the ecosystems responded unpredictably at times, and political, economic, and cultural landscapes influenced the project's effectiveness in various regions. Jack found himself traveling extensively, consulting with international teams, troubleshooting issues, and continuously learning from each scenario. Amidst this busy schedule, Jack made a point to stay connected with Eridani. He organized regular video conferences with Serena and her team, sharing updates and insights. These sessions became a fusion of scientific exchange and strategic planning, as both planets faced their unique challenges but helped each other grow stronger. On the anniversary of his return to Earth, Jack organized a global forum called One Planet, Two Worlds, which was held simultaneously on Earth and Eridani through a live streaming platform. The event showcased the progress of the past year, highlighted ongoing projects, and discussed future initiatives. It was a celebration of interstellar partnership and Earth's newfound unity in environmental management. During the forum, Jack unveiled the next phase of the Terra Nova Foundation's efforts, the Genesis projects. These were ambitious endeavors aimed at creating self-sustaining ecosystems in the most devastated areas of Earth, using a combination of all the techniques and technologies developed from the Eridani experience. These projects would serve as models for ecological restoration and technological integration, demonstrating the potential for a rebalanced relationship with nature. As Jack introduced the Genesis projects, he also announced the establishment of the Eridani Earth Research Scholarship, a program designed to foster the next generation of environmental scientists and engineers. The scholarship would support students from both planets, encouraging them to work together on research projects that furthered the goals of the Blue-Green Protocol. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Young people from around the world expressed their enthusiasm and eagerness to contribute to the environmental revolution. Jack felt a surge of hope, seeing the passion and determination in the eyes of these future leaders. However, Jack knew that lasting change required more than just technological solutions, it required a cultural shift, a redefinition of humanity's relationship with the planet. To this end, he started the Terra Nova Outreach, a global educational initiative that worked with schools, communities, and governments to raise awareness about environmental issues and promote sustainable practices. As part of this initiative, Jack authored a book titled Stars of Terra, which narrated his journey to Eridani and back, intertwined with lessons on environmental science and the philosophy of planetary stewardship. The book became a bestseller, used in schools as part of the curriculum and by policymakers as a guide in environmental planning. 2 years after his speech at the UN, Jack returned to Eridani to review the joint projects and plan new ones. The reunion with Surina and his Eridani friends was heartfelt. They toured the planet, visiting sites where Earth's influence had sparked significant improvements and Eridani technologies had inspired new approaches on Earth. Standing once again in the thriving Green Heart area, now a lush, vibrant forest teeming with life, Jack and Surina discussed their visions for the future. They talked about establishing a permanent Earth-Eridani exchange hub, a place where scientists, students, and leaders from both worlds could come together to share knowledge and strategies. As the sun set on Eridani, casting long shadows and painting the sky in brilliant hues of orange and purple, Jack felt an overwhelming connection to both worlds. His journey had started with a single step onto an unknown planet, driven by desperation and curiosity. Now, it spanned galaxies, rooted in hope and a deep commitment to safeguarding these celestial homes. Back on Earth, at a special ceremony held under the newly restored sky of the Genesis Project's first completed site, Jack was honored with a Global Environmental Award. Standing before an audience of Earth's and Eridani's finest minds, Jack spoke not just of victories but of the continuous journey ahead. "This award is not a conclusion but a reminder," Jack said, holding the award aloft. "A reminder that our work is never truly done, that every day offers us a chance to learn more, do better, and dream bigger." As the crowd cheered, Jack's thoughts turned to the countless individuals who had joined him on this incredible journey, the scientists, the dreamers, the leaders, and every person who had dared to believe that change was possible. Together, they had altered the course of 2 planets, intertwining their destinies in a shared story of survival and hope. With a heart full of gratitude and eyes fixed on the stars, Jack knew the legacy of this interstellar partnership would endure, a beacon of what humanity could achieve when united by a common purpose. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. For more exciting HFY stories. Your support means the world to us. And make sure to tap the bell icon, so you never miss an update. Stay tuned for our next adventure, and until then, keep exploring the stars. See you in the next video.